Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. I have a great video in store for you guys and gals today, so you want to stick around. It's definitely a good one. Now, there's a difference between what something should be and what something will be. This article claims $175 silver in 6 months. Do you think they actually believe that though? Silver pumpers will take a number like that looks good on paper from the charts and what's happening in the economy and the shortage and supply demand issues, what looks like it should be possible or plausible, and they'll portray it as if that's what they think or know will happen. That's misleading to an audience because then everyone reading that or watching that has this high number, this very high expectation, and then if silver falls short of that, then they feel resentful or they feel like it's a bad investment and they will turn away from precious metals. And that's dangerous because we know that precious metals have a lot of potential opportunity and safety, especially in the investing world. I mean, nothing else compares to precious metals. It's by far the safest, smartest alternative to the dollar. So when I see this $175 level in 6 months, I'm trying to see, I want to understand where they're coming from. See, I could tell you that $100 silver, and this is the thing, I don't think silver is going to be $175 even in 10, 15 years. See, 10 years ago, silver was $50. So a lot can happen in 10 years, especially how fast the economy is moving technologically, and more people are accepting investing and younger generations are. So the markets are going to be flooded with more money, more opportunity, more perspectives, more things advancing, and more companies opening up. The financial system, everything's becoming more rapid at a much more rapid, faster pace. So if precious metals also falls into that flow of a faster paced market, it's going to get interesting because precious metals aren't meant for that. Precious metals is supposed to be a slow hedge against inflation as the dollar decreases. It's not supposed to be a fast-paced market like stocks or crypto. So it could be interesting on how these markets are changing. Just like in my video yesterday, I portrayed the question of how do you think the markets have changed over time? Because how you invested 15 years ago in this market is much different than today. Maybe, like my example I've noticed was when I started stacking around 9 years ago. 9 years ago, speculation was not as heavy or not as influential as it is in today's time. Back in the day, it was more off of supply and demand, more off of hard concrete evidence. Nowadays, Donald Trump could tweet something or some type of rumor comes out or someone's opinion, and it could heavily influence, and it does heavily influence the market, which I don't like because precious metals have intrinsic value, so they should be based more off of the concrete evidence. But markets are ever changing. Just like with Bitcoin, people who thought Bitcoin would be a terrible investment because it doesn't have, it goes against what people are used to, it's something new, lost out on a lot of money. You have to learn how to adapt and how to adjust, especially as an investor, if you want to make money. So, that being said, let's jump into this article. The silver lining. Why silver looks to be an exciting prospect for the year. So, when it comes to precious metals, gold is often the more popular investment. This is no surprise as of late, given its rapidly rising stock value past the pandemic. Despite the pandemic's effects on the global economy, gold's steadfastness seems to be the hot topic of the moment. But look beyond gold and you'll find silver is enjoying a very similar trajectory. And I always say that, like gold is the mascot. Gold is what drags people into the precious metals world. And then when they hear about this cheaper, more affordable, more potential opportunity, which is silver, then they usually switch over. Since March of this year, the price of silver has surged from $9.61 to $12.35 per ounce to $23.83 at the time of writing. This followed from a significant drop due to its uncertainty of the approaching pandemic. Stocks of all varieties plummeted. Silver was no exception, and the stock hit its lowest value since 2009. This, however, was followed by a huge rally that rocketed the stock to its highest level since 2013. Within weeks, stock had ever seen an 11-year low and 7-year high. Why the sudden price surge? It was like a 65% price surge. It went from $11 in March to almost $30 by August. So, and the perfect storm was here. The stars definitely aligned. The time of the crisis. Silver is a classic safe haven venture during uncertain times, historically during difficult global events. Recessions, market turbulence, political issues, investors flock to gold and silver. Pandemic has no exception. To add to that, silver has had a much smaller market size than gold, so the weight of large investments will always have a greater impact on its price. And that is one of the most important points this article makes, because looking forwards, as new businesses, bigger businesses, individual investors from larger varieties of younger generations, more money pouring into precious metals, gold and silver, silver definitely has the upper hand because it's a much smaller market than gold. So money going in affects it at a much larger degree. So, another factor playing into the price surge is the dollar being the world's reserve currency in the stock market. Its value often correlating directly to gold and silver. With the recent stimulus packages offered by the U.S. government and the dollar trending down, this explains and bodes well for silver prices currently going forwards. And the more stimulus, the worse the dollar strength gets. It's only going to mean higher precious metals prices. While silver stock tends to fluctuate in direct correlation to that of gold. Interestingly, its relative volatility has allowed it to outperform gold at every spike. For example, gold has seen performance increase 14% last 6 months, while silver has a 52% increase. Silver is like gold on steroids, people. It's a more dramatic, more extreme version of gold. The adaptability of silver, and the adaptability of silver. This is what separates the two metals. But in looking at this sparks the question. So I talked about how the markets have changed. Over the years, right? And I think speculation. But here's the next thing, and I hope they cover this. They say that when what separates the two metals, what or when or if or how could these two metals start to be affected by different events, different things? Because right now they're so directly correlated that the prices, if you look at a graph of silver and gold, they almost mimic each other identically. But when is silver going to have its own a life of its own, affected by its own things, regardless of what is going on with gold? Do you think they're always going to move together, or do you think that silver will have leeway? Especially since silver is an industrial metal where gold is not at all, right? And you could argue what I'm saying if that wasn't the case. Silver used for electronics, laptops, cell phones, dental alloys, medical world, electric vehicles, 5G technology, solar panels. Gold more used for jewelry, bars, coins, earrings, rings. So why are those two metals so closely intertwined when they're used for very different things? See what I'm saying by that? So what separates the two metals and perhaps makes silver more viable is that gold's value comes mostly from jewelry, as I just mentioned, currency proxy. While some of silver's value is also tied up in jewelry, half of its purchase is industrial use, like I just was explaining. So they're just saying what I said, but they're not explaining what I was asking. I guess that's like further ahead of the question. So these uses include the production of solar panels and batteries, which is a giant green tick for silver's long-term price. An assortment of electronics and antibacterial elements. There's colloidal silver, silver nanoparticles. Scientists found a way to make 40% stronger without losing any electrical conductivity. The use in solar panels alone is a good omen. The market has sustainability and is expected to triple in digits in the next few years, meaning silver will be increasingly high demand. So here we go. Here's the price. Here's the $135 per ounce in 6 months. So, and you know what's even crazier is FX Empire is the one that projected this. I read a lot of articles from them. They're like the Kitco. They're like the Seeking Alpha. They write daily articles on gold and silver. So it's not even from some random spur off site. Like, these people have credibility, and it's interesting that they would risk that, their credibility or their reputation, by throwing a number out there that high. So they must have some good reasoning. How high can it go? In the face of these recent price increases, FX Empire projects an incredible target of silver from anywhere between $135 to $213 per ounce in the next 6 months, if not even higher. That's a ridiculous rally of more than 700%, once in a lifetime occurrence. More conservatively, gold silver predicted back in June 2020 a high of $20 with no crisis, and 25 with crisis, both of which the stock has surpassed. They did predict, though, a potential 5-year high of $100 to $150. So even people that are bullish on the short term, the medium to long term, they're still looking at triple digits. $100 silver in 5 years would be incredible for us, especially us that are buying large amounts of it at $20, $25. Imagine that. Imagine buying a couple hundred ounces of silver for $25, selling it for $100. You'd make a fortune. And that's what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we stack silver. These are two contrasting predictions, but the general consensus is an overall increase in silver's future. That's what makes silver so freaking valuable. Everyone needs to look at the future. Don't look at what's happening right now. Look at where it's headed. Don't look at the past. You can look at the past to see patterns and stuff, but what's the most important is where it's headed, because when we sell, we're selling in the future. So we need to look at what's the market going to be like when we go to sell. Just like if you're buying real estate. If you're going to buy rental property, you got to look at, are they building neighborhoods, tearing neighborhoods down? Are they building shopping centers, tearing shopping centers down? Are they building school districts, tearing school districts down? Depending on the question between those answers can tell you whether your property value is going to rise or decline when you want to sell that in the future. Silver is the same way. You have to look at where it's headed. And it looks like the demand is going to keep increasing. The supply is going to keep decreasing, meaning a rise in price. So there are two contrasting predictions, but the general consensus is an overall increase in silver's future. And with this, it seems that any silver asset, be that physically or in mining stock, could prove to be a wise addition to anyone's portfolio. If silver's price continues to rise, mining companies can offer higher percentage gains than designated contract markets. Although no asset is without risk, and silver is highly volatile, its use in industry makes it an excellent case for silver's viability. And where it is now, silver could represent an excellent investment opportunity. And yes, with more risk, there is reward, and some would say gold's a safer play. But precious metals in general are both safe. I mean, gold might be safer because it's not as volatile, but looking at the numbers with silver, anytime you're transferring fiat money or fiat currency into something like gold and silver, you really can't go wrong because you're transferring fake money into real money. So you can never go wrong with that. So anyways, I thought that this was a great article. I definitely think it's a little high to say those prices, but I'm glad that they broke it down and gave some insight, gave their side of the story. I just don't think it's going to be that extreme. Let me know what you think silver's price will be in 6 months. Remember, a lot can happen in 6 months. The unknown factor, the unknown variable, is the most important that plays into price forecasts or price predictions. It's always the unknown variable that kicks things way out of left field. All the price forecasts from last year are way off from this year because nobody could have predicted a pandemic, a global pandemic. So next month, in 6 months, in 6 years, think of how many other occurrences, instances are going to happen that we just don't know about yet that are heavily going to influence the price of silver and gold. So we really can't look or take a forecast too seriously without incorporating the unknown variable. So anyways, I thought this was a great video. I hope you stuck around. If you did stick around this long, then thank you. Smash the like button. You must like something if you stuck around this long. Maybe you thought it was entertaining. Maybe you thought this was a terrible video. Whatever the case, smash the like button. Make sure you're subscribed, because yes, I make videos like this. I make the controversial videos like this, but I also do the opposite. I make a lot of factual videos talking about silver's price, why silver's price is the way it is right now, what's affecting it, where I think it's going to be at, or where it's headed, also what's happening in the economy that's influencing the price. You definitely want to stay subscribed to my channel, because I do it all. I definitely come from all different angles, looking at price manipulation, spoofing, everything. I look at everything, and I try to give you guys an overall good picture of what the precious metals world looks like at this moment in time. So anyways, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe. I got a lot more coming. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.